Morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've not really had much chance to watch much of anything this week, so this video is a bit of a cop-out really. I'm just basically showing off some more of the Blu-rays that I've got. So we'll get straight into it. This is just me basically showing the kind of movies that I enjoy watching when I do get the chance to watch them. Starting with this one, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, easily my favourite movie of all time. I could do a whole video on this one all on its own. I really must write some kind of an article for the website on this one. Saw this for the first time in 1977 when it came out. First time I watched it, I didn't completely get it, and for some reason I was drawn to watch it again, and proceeded to see it. I think it was 16 times in 3 weeks. Yeah, young and stupid, but this is easily one of my favourite movies. I'm about due to revisit it again at some point because I haven't seen it for a while. Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah, what can you say? Ray Harryhausen classic. I'd never seen anything like this the first time I saw it. The skeleton fight at the end is just phenomenal, and I think it still looks good now. This was made in 1963, and it was pretty groundbreaking as far as special effects went. And it's now regarded as an absolute classic. Nixon. Haven't watched it, but I find the idea of the Watergate scandal fascinating, so I thought I'd have a look at that. Who's actually in this? Who plays him? Anthony Hopkins. So I mean, you can't really go wrong, and it's a long film. I think it's getting on for 3 hours, so I've got to find the time to get into that one. Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood. It doesn't really get any better than this. I thought this was going to be one of the last films he made, but I mean, the guy plays a Korean War veteran, 70 years old if he's a day, and I tell you what, you still wouldn't mess with him. This is an excellent film, vaguely reminiscent of Dirty Harry, possibly Death Wish. Worth watching if you get the chance, if you've never seen it. South Pacific. Sorry. I do love the old musicals, or certain of them, and this was one. I believe when my mum and dad first started dating, this was one of the movies that my dad took my mum to see, and she still got the soundtrack LP, which is looking a little bit tattered and a bit weather-worn nowadays, but some of the songs in this are just superb. The most famous one is probably Happy Talk, and that's only famous because Captain Sensible charted with it in the early 80s with his version of it, so I do love that one. Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor. 4 hours of Hollywood magic. I believe it went way over budget when they were making it. I'm thinking it probably made its money back. This is one I really need to watch, but again, 4 hours. It's a long film. Sex Pistols, They'll Always Be in England, a reunion concert, which I have seen and loved every second of. They are British legends in pop. I also love the movie that they made, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle in 80s, I think it was 1980. Really looking forward to a Blu-ray release of that if they ever get round to it. The Nightcomers, is it The Nightcomers? The Nightcomers. Marlon Brando. I believe this is a kind of a remake or a rehash of the Henry James novel Turn of the Screw, which was filmed in the 60s and called, let me get this right, what was it called? Deborah Carr was in it. The Innocents. That was it, The Innocents. So looking forward to watching that one at some point. Another of my favourites, Saturday Night Fever. I could rattle on about this one for hours. I know it's dated, but the soundtrack is brilliant. It's a raw, dark thing that you've not... People think it's this cutesy little disco movie. It really isn't. If you watch it, the language is foul. It's littered with sex scenes and all sorts, but it's just an amazing film. I did an article on the website actually telling everybody how I finally got to see this, because I was too young to watch it when it came out. Oh God. Love Thy Neighbour. Yeah, I mean, 1973, racism, PC-ness. If you are remotely politically correct. This is not a movie for you. I think it's absolutely hysterical, and I know quite a few people out there that also think it's hysterical. But the politically correct brigade will definitely not like that one. The Karate Kid collection. I finally got to watch these a few weeks back and absolutely loved them. If you were compiling a list of essential films of the 80s, these would have to be on that list, alongside classics like Back to the Future, maybe the Alien trilogy. More Clint, the Spaghetti Western trilogy. These are ones I really need to watch. I can't believe I've never seen The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. But in this box set you get all three of them. What we've got here, for a few dollars more, Fistful of Dollars, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. I mean, Clint Eastwood, you absolutely can't go wrong with those. I must have been going through a bit of a Western phase at some point. Wyatt Earp, Kevin Costner. This is a long ass film. This is about 3 hours as well. Yeah, I'm sure it's about 3 hours. So again, this is one I'd need to find time to watch. Godzilla. I can't remember why I bought it. I must have wanted it, but again, I've not had a chance to watch it. Girls Trip. Watched this a few months ago. There's nothing much you can say about this really. It's just girls being girls, loud, raucous, pissed. They basically go on a trip to I think it's Las Vegas on a girls' night out or something. It was quite funny. It was all right, but it's not one I'd watch again. Unlike this one, Legend. The story of the Cray twins, both of them played by Tom Hardy, both of them played brilliantly by Tom Hardy. This is an absolute legend of a movie. I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and it gets better every time I watch it. This guy is just amazing. The rumour was that he was going to be the new Bond. I really hope that's true. The Omen trilogy. I believe it's only got the first. Has it got the first 3, or has it got them all? Yeah, the first 3. Classics of British horror, especially the first one. The second one, The Deaths, got more inventive, and the final one kind of wrapped the trilogy up. I love these movies. I haven't seen them for quite a while. Again, I need to revisit these. There was also a 4th instalment featuring a girl. I've not seen it, so I don't know what it's like. And there was also a remake, a dire remake in 2006, which I watched and thought, why? Why would you even bother? Blood on Satan's Claw, British folk horror at its best, made in 1971, I believe. Again, this contains scenes that you would not get away with filming nowadays. You would have to do it very, very differently. It's kind of like The Wicker Man, but you're looking at something. If you had to cross it with anything, it'd be like The Wicker Man crossed with maybe Witchfinder General, that kind of style. But I love this. I haven't seen it for a while, but it's a shocking piece. More Clint, The Gauntlet, 1976, starred with his future wife Sandra Locke. Great action movie. Clint Eastwood, you just can't go wrong. I don't think he's made what I would class as a bad film. Casino Royale, Bond. I've actually got this in a box set upstairs, so I'm probably going to end up giving this away to a charity shop. Oh, it isn't. It's not Casino Royale. Beg your pardon, Spectre. It's going to be one of them days, isn't it? Excellent film. British classic, 1975, Tommy, The Who. A rock opera. One of those movies that if you read about it, or you read the script, it would not sound like it would work on paper. It is literally a rock opera, but it is absolutely superb. Roger Daltrey plays Tommy, the pinball wizard. You've got Elton John in there. You've got all of the Who are in there. The music is amazing. The visuals are stunning. This is Ken Russell, so again, you can't go wrong. Star Trek Into Darkness. I haven't seen it. I bought it ages ago. I went through a bit of a Star Trek phase. I bought the original J.J. Abrams Star Trek and then thought, well, you've got to have the other 2, so I really must get into that. Oh, there's the other one, Star Trek Beyond. Again, not seen it, so can't comment on that one. And the original, which I have seen and loved, which means I really do have to get into the next ones. Extraterrestrial. This unnerved me a little bit. I've got this thing about alien abduction. The idea of it just scares the hell out of me. Um, this was really, really well done. There is one particular scene on this that really scared the crap out of me. Um, the first time you see the alien through a large window, the lightning lights it up as it's walking towards the window, and it is really, really unnerving. I love that film. Camelot. Haven't seen it, but heard a lot about it. Musical based on the legend of King Arthur, starring Richard Harris. Again, this is a long film. Capricorn 1, one of my all-time favourites, 1977 or 8, I believe. It basically plays on the premise that the moon landing didn't actually happen, it was fate. And it's the story of a reporter who picks up on this and investigates it. This is an amazing film. It's not very well known. I don't think it was remotely publicised properly when it first came out. I caught it by accident. I believe I went to see it at Burton Odeon, and there wasn't a lot on during that week that I hadn't already seen, so I took this in, and it was absolutely amazing, and it still is. That is definitely recommended. Capricorn 1. British classic, Quadrophenia. Phil Daniels and a host of stars that were to become very, very famous in the future, including Toya and quite a few others whose name I can't remember. Leslie Ash, there's one. Mark Wingett, who I believe ended up in the bill. Ray Winston is in there. This is one of those movies that crosses generational barriers, if that's what you call it. A lot of young people have heard of this, have seen it. They weren't around when it first came out. This caused quite a stir when it was first released. It started a kind of a mod revival, which was backed up by the two-tone movement in the late 70s, early 80s. But this is superb if you haven't seen it. I've seen this quite a few times and still love watching it. Hawk the Slayer. It's a sword and sorcery type thing. It's a British one. I haven't seen it for quite a while. I remember it being quite entertaining and saw it on Blu-ray for cheap as chips, so I thought I'll grab that. But that's another one I really need to watch. Jack Palance is actually in that one. The Hallison Bachelor short film collection. This is a disc of short cartoons by Hallison Bachelor. I haven't seen it, but I really must get round to watching that. I believe that was a Christmas present. The Monster Club, not even out of the cellophane. I believe it's a horror anthology type of thing, similar to Tales from the Crypt, From Beyond the Grave, Vault of Horror, that kind of thing, but with a comedic twist. I believe Vincent Price is in this, Donald Pleasance and John Carradine, so that's one I need to have a look at. This Sporting Life, another British classic in the same vein as Cares, Poor Cow, Darling, Look Back in Anger, Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. This is one I need to watch, to do with a rugby player, Richard Harris. That's got to be worth a look. 6-5 Special, based on the TV series of the same name, so that's going to be worth a look. Animal Farm, no, not that one. The animated version, based on the book by George Orwell. I saw this, I believe, at school, and I believe we read the book as part of the English syllabus curriculum, whatever you call it. So that's got to be worth a look. Just shove these over. Gone with the Wind. 4 hours of absolute total classic. Now, this has been the subject of a bit of controversy just recently, due to racial stereotypes. Here we go again, the PC Brigade sticking their noses in. It's a complete classic. Why can't we just take these movies at face value? Why can't we just treat them as period pieces, as, you know, yes, we know they were of their time, and we know that you wouldn't get away with portraying people like that nowadays. But unfortunately, this is how it was done back then. You're talking 1939, it was a different time. So, again, whole other discussion. Day of the Animals. I love this. I love the whole nature fights back
kind of genre, which is basically animals fighting back. This was superb. I saw this on a double bill in, would have been 1977 when it came out, with a movie called The Car, which I've also got somewhere. A hell of a double bill. They were double A certificate when they came out, which is the equivalent nowadays. I think is a 15, but a double A meant that you had to be over 14 to get him to watch. Superb film, well worth watching. Another one in the same genre, Grizzly, does what it says on the tin really. Classic movie, stars, I can never remember his name, Christopher George. Just the story of a giant killer grizzly bear roaming the woodlands. Cracking film. The Railway Children. If we're talking 70s classics that you grew up with, they don't come any better than this one. Jenny Agutter, Bernard Cribbins, what's the lady's name? Dinah Sheridan, who I believe was in Genevieve. This is just the most beautiful film. And if you grew up in the early 70s, you couldn't get away from it. It was always at the cinema, usually during the summer holidays and usually Christmas. It is just superb. If you've never seen this, this is how children's movies should be made. Woodstock. 3 hours. Martin Scorsese directed this. It is basically a documentary on the Woodstock Festival, the one that kicked it all off. You've got some big names in this. You've got Jimi Hendrix, The Who, who else? Joan Baez, Joe Cocker, Jefferson Airplane, Santana. Loads. Cracking movie. One of my favourites, one of my all-time favourites. I love this film. Barbarella, Queen of the Galaxy. Jane Fonda's first movie. She's not exactly very proud of it. I don't know why. I think it's great. Directed by Dino De Laurentiis, who I believe she was married to at the time. This is just good. Kind of clean. It was very adult for its day. The only thing I could probably compare it to is something like Flesh Gordon, but this was on a whole other level. I love this. I've seen this so many times, and I never get bored of it. It's a typical late Saturday night when there's nothing else on the TV. Bang that on. The Planet of the Apes series, not the TV series, the actual movies. Wow, what can you say? All complete classics. Charlton Heston, many other stars throughout these. I really need to watch all of these again. There are 5 in this box set. The original is, of course, the best, and it's mostly remembered for the final scene. The classic, like, get your dirty paws off me, you damn dirty ape. Cracking. This is one I need to do a video on and an article on. Soldier Blue. It was released in 1970, stars Peter Strauss and Candice Bergen. This was as controversial as hell when it came out. I haven't seen it for a while. As I remember, what you get is a pretty standard, fairly violent Western for like the first hour and 40 minutes. And for the last 20 minutes, it explodes into the most unbelievably cruel, violent, awful scene, which involves a cavalry raid on an Indian village. I had never seen anything quite like it at the time. Heaven knows the reaction it must have got in 1970 when it came out. I know it had problems with the censors on both sides of the Atlantic, and with very, very good reason. It is a difficult watch, a really, really hard watch. You think you're okay with it for the first hour and a half. You think this ain't so bad, then all of a sudden it just goes crazy. It's definitely worth a watch if you get the chance and you can find it. I would definitely recommend that you try to get the uncut version. I believe this was imported from Germany, and it's classed as a 15 now, but believe me, this is X-rated stuff. Dogs. Another Nature Fights Back type of thing. Stars David McCallum, who used to be the man from Uncle. Excellent film. I haven't seen it for a while, so that's another one that I need to revisit. I Am Bruce Lee. Documentary on the master himself, Bruce Lee. what can you say? Superb. As you can see, it's still in the cellophane, but I have seen it before. I saw it on Sky Arts, I think, when it was on there. And finally, for this one anyway, one of my all-time favourite movies, The Wild Geese. Wow, I absolutely love this. I loved it the first time I saw it. You've got Richard Harris, Hardy Kruger, Roger Moore, and Richard Burton, who basically play mercenaries who are drafted in to rescue an African diplomat. This is how action movies should be made. It is violent, but it's not overly violent, but the action scenes are just superb. I can't recommend this highly enough. I've seen this quite a few times, and it's one of those that I never ever get bored of watching. So if you get the chance to watch that one, The Wild Geese is well worth a watch. Made in 1978, so might look a little bit dated now, but to hell with it. I think it's great. Right, that's enough for today. 20 minutes, these videos are getting longer. Right, have a good day everybody, and I'll be back with another one very, very shortly. Enjoy your day folks, and I will talk to you all again soon. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that, and also if you want to subscribe, feel free. Talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.